another episode of the Stitch Diaries. Now I think I've got a really exciting episode for you today. So if you like pretty things, sewing, knitting or crochet, I think there'll be something for you. Now hopefully I am going to be my normal self today, but I will admit yesterday I started having a few dizzy spells. I was at figure skating practice, so you could put it down to jumping around and spinning around, but I'm not normally this kind of dizzy. But then in the afternoon I started to feel really very tired, and I really didn't feel very good when I woke up this morning, so I think I might be coming down with something. But I thought I'm going to do this video anyway, so I'm just going to crack on with it. Now I haven't got a list of things, I've just laid everything out and I'm going to hope for the best. So shall I start with something I've completed? Now the thing I've completed is a part of a larger project, which you do already know that I'm working on if you've watched one of my previous videos, and it is the arne&carlos mini Nordic jumpers, and it's basically an advent calendar that you make all these 24 Nordic sweaters with a close cast on at the bottom so you can stuff them. But I'm leaving mine open because I'm a doll person, so I might want to put these jumpers on the dolls. So I'm actually I'm starting to work on the second one now. Now if you wonder what this funny green colour is and you're aware of this pattern, the bottom bit was printed in the colours, but this was just in grey, and I think it was going to confuse me because I think I might have gone off track. So what I've done is I've shaded it all in green, so I know all those are green and then the bits in between are actually the grey. So yeah, I've just done that just so I wouldn't get too confused. And so far I've done the hemband, and I've just done a couple of rows of the colour. And another thing that I'm doing with these, which if you're going to make them you might find useful yourself, is I'm working on a 4 double pointed needles on the jumper. So I've actually drew a line down the centre, so I know that is needle 1, that's needle 2, and then you repeat it, needle 3, needle 4, so that's 1 needle. Now when it comes to the sleeve, you knit this in just one time, it's just, you don't repeat this. But I only have 6 stitches per needle. So what I do with this one is I draw lines down every 6 stitches, so each needle I can just follow what I do on each needle, and it just makes it a little less confusing. I did that with the sleeve of the first one, but I didn't actually do that with the body of the first one. But it's something I'm going to be doing moving forward. Now this has fallen out of the folder, so I'll just show you. That's all I've got. Now I am going to be putting this project down because I'm actually crocheting something. I basically put some crochet down to finish this little sweater, and then I'm going back to the crochet. But here is my finished sweater. Now it's got the number 1 on the front and the back, but it's really lovely, isn't it? I think it would probably fit a Ken doll maybe, or Barbie. Be very oversized, but I will try it on dolls. But these will fit arne&carlos's knitted dolls. They have a knitted doll book, and I've actually knitted 2 dolls from their book. So this will fit those dolls as well. And I'm actually knitting it in the yarn that they suggested, the Rowan Norwegian wool. Now the only thing I found with this wool is that I did knit from the inner band with the cream, and I was finding some very thin spots in the yarn, but I don't know if that's because I've gone from the centre of the ball. So going forward I'm going from the outside of the ball rather than the inside, just to avoid that happening. But yeah, it's really lovely. It looks very cream next to this is a cream jumper, but it looks extremely cream, doesn't it, next to this. Yeah, and the next one is, I'll show you the yarns actually. Those are the colours. Very Slytherin looking, isn't it? That's what I thought. Oh, and another thing that I've done to try and make this easier for me is that the ball bands, they aren't they don't have the colours wrote on them. So when it tells me in the pattern, and some of them, you know, I've got 2 different shades of grey and I wasn't quite sure which one to use. So I've actually done some colouring in marks. If I didn't quite have the colour, like there, I've just wrote cream, because obviously I didn't have a cream to write with. And some of them I've just done a bit of a squiggle and I've wrote the names of the colours. So it's just, I just want to make my life as easy as possible while I am making a project. And I think those things are going to make it easy. And I'm not carrying around all the pattern sheets with my project. I'm just literally putting the ones I need. I've got this little plastic sleeve. I've got my knitting bag from Mary Angela, what Mary Angela made for me, which I have shown you before. Hang on, I'm just a bit tangled here. And I've also, Mary Angela put a little hook on this knitting bag, and I've actually added some little cat stitch markers on it, and I think they are beautiful. I think they're Alice something crafts on Etsy. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name now of the person I bought them from. So that's kind of like a finished thing and ongoing. Now I decided I wanted to get those done by the end of October, which means I've got to do 2.4 jumpers a month. Now I started this quite late this month, but maybe I could get another one done this month, but it might mean then maybe next month I could be getting 3. I'll just see how it goes, because I'm crocheting that cozy cabin doll, aren't I? And that was apparently a 30-something hour project, but the end is getting nearer for me anyway, which I will show you how much further along I am with that project now. Now before I move on to that, I have cast on another project, and you may think I'm crazy, but this is my car project. Now I'm using my other knitting bag that Lindsay made for me. It's the Barbie one. Now it isn't Barbie knitting, but the reason I'm knitting from it, apart from how I love this bag as well, the yarn I'm using is the yarn that I used to knit that Barbie jumper with, and I wanted to use that yarn because I've got 3 balls of it to make something else, and this is what I've done so far. Now all of this work is actually what I've done out and about while I've been waiting for my son to come out of college, waiting for my son at the hairdressers. You know, this is all what I've done. I did the increasing, that's the front actually. I did the increasing at home up to here, and then all that is what I've done out. And basically I've got to keep going until this reaches 50 centimetres, and then I've got to decrease, and then I've got to knit some of the bits, and I will show you what it is I am making, and it's really lovely, and it's a pattern by Petite Knits, and this yarn is lovely. I don't know if you can see, but it has got a sparkle in it. It is 100% acrylic from Aldi. It's not like an expensive one, and obviously you have seen it before because I did show you. I'm just wondering, do I have a ball band? No, don't have the ball band. I'm sure I've shown you the ball band before, because obviously I've used it before for knitting something I've shown you. Right, I'll pop that back in there. Now, actually the designer tells you to use a circular needle, but I can't see why. However, for travelling around, it's quite nice because you can push it down and it's a little bit safer. And I must admit, when I read the pattern through, it said you do an I-cord edging, and when I saw the length of it, and I thought, oh gosh, you know, you've got all that knitting to do, and then you've got this I-cord edging, but the I-cord edging is knitted as you work. So if you have a look up close, it's got an I-cord edging that you knit at the end of the row basically, so I won't have to go back and make I-cord and sew it on, which that's what I thought when I first read the start of the pattern, and I'll show you what it is to make. It's called the December Bow by Petite Knit, and here it is. And it's lovely, isn't it? Now she has put a leather handle on it, and you could hang it off a bag, off a basket, something like that. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with mine yet. I might actually attach a hair bobble or scrunchie to it and use it for my hair. Who knows? I'm not sure yet. But yeah, oh, somebody is at the front door. It might be my husband that's come back, which then he's going to see all this mess as well. Oh gosh, okay. So it says the December bow is worked back and forth in one piece from tip to tip in garter stitch with I-cord edges, and that's when I thought, oh gosh, I-cord edges. But as I say, it's all and then you fold it, and then you follow the diagram, and then you add a leather handle. So I'm guessing that you'll need to knit a piece to go around the middle as well when I've done all that. But yeah, it's one of those sort of things. It's perfect for taking out and about. Yes, it's my husband. I've just paused the video. What was I saying? So yeah, as long as you remember when you get to the end of the row, a few stitches before the end of the row, you do something different to garter stitch. As long as you can keep that in mind, then yeah, you'll be fine to knit this out and about without your pattern basically. Just take a tape measure when it's getting towards the end, when you're thinking it's looking like 50 centimetres, and then you'll probably do the decrease bit when you're sitting at home, maybe, when you can concentrate. That's what I will do anyway. So yes, hopefully, like normally I don't like waiting around, it infuriates me, but actually it's been quite delightful. I've been listening to Harry Potter on Audible and knitting this. Apart from when my son was at the hairdressers, I didn't listen to Audible then, but yeah, it's been really lovely. So we'll go to the crochet now. Now, you've already seen I'm working on the Cozy doll from Toft. And last week I showed you all the little items of clothing that I have made. Now I did find out after I put the collar on, I realised I shouldn't have, because you won't be able to get it on the doll. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the doll body, make the neck, and then I'm going to put it into the jumper, and then I'm going to crochet the head when the jumper is on. That is my plan. So I'll show you a photograph of all the things that I've made for this doll, because I didn't bring them in because it was just like more things to bring in, but I'll put the photograph on, and I have posted this online. Now if you look closely, I actually put the join of the hat on the show on that picture, which is unfortunate, but never mind. It's done in the round, but you know where you've got the change of colours, I can see it, but never mind. So anyway, so this is making me giggle actually looking at this. I've got a little hand holding a crochet hook. No, silliness aside, I've actually made one hand, and I've just started the hand of the other one. So that the start of the arm. I'm guessing this doll's going to wear a t-shirt, because yeah, it starts off in cream, and then I'm increasing for the hand, and then I'm going to be working on some fingers. Now I decided I was going to do the fingers because you have got a choice. You can do the basic hand and the advanced hand, and actually on this one I made a mistake. I started doing the basic hand and I had to rip it back and then start doing that. So yes, I'm going to actually work on the doll this evening when I sit down in front of the TV. That is my plan. So yeah, I'm quite eager to move along with this, because I don't think the doll, I know the doll is quite a big piece, but it's quite basic, isn't it, compared to all those little pieces I was making and sewing together. So yeah, so that will be something I'm doing later. Now in my last video I showed you a pattern that I was really excited about for some little mice. It was at the very start of my video, and at the end you may have spotted in my little video there was a little mouse, a little girl mouse. Well, because I managed to make her after I'd recorded my video, and I just decided to put her in at the very end. Well anyway, I have gone on to make another mouse. Now what I've actually done, I made a boy outfit first, well, boy trousers, and I put that on the first mouse that I made, and then I went on and made another mouse and I put the dress onto the new mouse. And I'll show you a photograph of the little mice that I posted on social media. And they just look lovely, don't they? And I put them in a little suitcase. Now, how this project came about, I have fallen in love with a company that make little stuffed things and furniture and things, and they're called Mail EG. It's M-A-I-L-E-G. and they make these mice, and they have different size ones. They have a younger brother and sister, an older brother and sister, a mom, a dad, and little babies, all these different sizes. They do other things other than mice, but these are the things that I kind of fell in love with. I do really like mice. I've like knitted little mice, I've sewn a little mouse on a cotton reel, you know, I do really like them, and as well as many other creatures, as you know. But yeah, I was really eager. Now, I have seen some lovely things online. Now, the male EG mice, you can get them, you know, you can buy them on their own, you can buy them in little boxes. There might be photographs I'll put up on the screen, this side or this side as I'm talking to you. Little baby mice in a little box. You can get mice in tins. Hopefully I'm getting pictures for you to see. Now, when I saw these mice, I love them, but they're quite expensive, really. I don't have any little people. I have 3 sons, but you know, they're getting older. They're all teenagers. But you know, I didn't really want to buy them, but I sew, so I wanted to make them, and I'm hoping, I think they'll be perfect if I'm ever lucky enough to be a grandparent. I'm definitely going to let them play with them. There are some things I don't think I'd want to let grandchildren play with that I've made, but I think these are certainly good for playing with. And I've got them here, the ones I've made so far. Now, the clothes are from a different designer. Oh, they've fallen over. And I've got them in this lovely little Sass and Belle suitcase. Now, they could get upgraded. This is a rather small suitcase, but I have got other sizes. I always buy these suitcases for things. This is the largest one, and they all stack inside one another. So as the family of mice grow, they can have an upgrade. They can get bigger and bigger, but at the moment there's only 2 of them. They don't have any furniture or anything like that, so they are going in here for now. So actually, I'll get them out a bit closer. Now, the first mouse I made, I wasn't overly happy with the ears. I found them a bit big, and I ended up pulling them forward a little bit and then doing a few stitches down. He does look lovely though, doesn't he? And I've done them jointed like this so I can move the arms. And the legs are actually, I've got a photograph of what they look like without the clothes, save me undressing them. Actually, I can lift, excuse her modesty, I can lift a dress up a little bit. You actually ladder stitch these on there. I know with a lot of toys that you stuff the legs in, you normally get on a sewing machine and you squish them flat, but these you actually stitch by hand at that point, so it makes them not flat, which is lovely. Now, these mice are lovely, and they're by a designer called Little Arkington. I did show you the pattern last time. It was this one, Little Arkington, and I downloaded it from Etsy and printed it myself. Now, there's a few sellers on there, which I'm going to get to in a moment, but these mice, this one I purchased didn't have any instructions, but it's because I purchased the wrong one. So I basically I purchased her Christmas decoration mouse because that had the instructions to make it, and I asked her and she said, yeah, it's exactly the same construction. So it meant I'd got the instructions for this rather than buying the pattern again with the instructions, which would be silly. The designer didn't say I could add a little bit of money and she'd send me the instructions or anything, but she probably thought, well, the decoration was only about £4, so yeah, it wasn't too bad. Well, anyway, these mice, you can make different sizes, and the sizes you can make now, do you know all those sandwich bags I bought for Christmas? They're coming in useful, because I bought loads of them and I didn't need them all. I've printed them out, I've put them onto card, and I've labelled them all. So the mice that I made were labelled the younger child mice, and I've got them in here. Now, what I will say is I use linen for my mice, and they are very fiddly. And on my second mouse, I actually damaged the leg. That badly turning it out, I had to make another leg. So yeah, they are very tiny and fiddly, but it didn't take long to just make another leg anyway. So yeah, the size I've made, as I say, is a younger child mouse. Now the other sizes that are included in this pattern is the little Arkington baby mouse, which the construction of that is different, but I think it's even more basic than the others. So I think I'll have, even though I've got no instructions, I think I'll have no trouble making the baby mice, which I think will look very similar to the Meili G ones, the ones in the box that I've hopefully shown you. I've got an adult size one. Now these come ready, you can print them out like that, and an older child. So you have an older child, a younger child, a baby child, and adult ones. And so far, all I've done is make the younger children. Now, when I got to my second one, I've actually altered the pattern of the ear. I cut them out the same and sewed them the same, but I actually stuffed more material inside of it, really pinched it together, and I actually prefer the look of those ears. I'm not sure if I actually did these right, but I do prefer them a bit more squat. Right, so anyway, they are not the only designer of little mice, little Arkington. Because I went on looking for some clothes. Now these clothes were advertised for mice that are 5 inches, and that's what these, the Meili G, the standard size, are meant to be. And I found this pattern. It was patterns for 5-inch mouse clothing by Laura Jean Dolls. And I showed you this last time as well. And those are the clothes that I've made. I made the little trousers, or they'd be shorts on a larger one, wouldn't they? And I made a little dress. And that's all I've made so far. Now the designer of this does say you can increase them by 10% and then they will fit 6-inch mice. Which I think the 6-inch mice are the parent mice. So I've printed them out in both sides and I've labelled them and put them in bags. So I should be able to dress some parent mice when it comes to that time. Now this designer, Laura Jean Dolls, also on Etsy, she actually had her own mouse pattern, which I've gone on to actually purchase. And her pattern pieces are like this. Now these, I haven't made one yet, but these are made very differently. These have got, now some of the Meili G ones, they've got a back headpiece, and these mice don't, they just have a centre back seam. Some mice have like a gusset area, like on the head, and some have like a back piece, and Laura Jean Doll mice do. So I'm actually going to have a go at making one of her mice. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. One of her mice, and they are made very differently. You cut on folds and things. There's seam allowance included in these, but there's no seam allowance included on these pattern pieces. So yeah, they're made very different. I've read the instructions and they are constructed very different. So I am going to make a version of that because I'm intrigued to see what they're like. Now I did find another mouse pattern, which was nice. So obviously so far I showed you one that didn't have any clothes, but it's got different sizes. Another one, it came in one size but you could rescale them on your printer, and another one, the same designer had clothes but you had to purchase them separately. Now this is another mouse pattern and I haven't made one as of yet, and it's called Mari Loves a Linning. It isn't on the pattern but I've had to write it on there. She was on Etsy also, and her pattern actually, she has got a gusset piece on hers as well, quite a large one. The heads look a lot wider actually, but apparently the sizes are the same. So we'll just see. But and their ears look much smaller and their heads look much bigger. But this pattern comes with the mice and some clothing. So I'm actually going to have a go at making those as well. So if you are really interested in making mice yourself, you might actually want to wait until I've made the Laura Jean Dolls mouse and the Mari Loves a Linen mouse and see what you like the best. and yeah, and then go from there. And then obviously I could do the same as well. I could make them and then see which ones I like the best. Maybe I like them all, I don't know. But what I've been using to make these mice is just some scraps. Now I like doing red work, and I've done a lot of red work, a lot of Mandy Shaw's red work, and I've always got bits of scraps of linen. So I've brought some things in to show you that I've made in the past that you may have seen. So I've made a number of these lampshades. I've hand stitched all the design onto this, and then I probably a bit of machine sewing and hand sewing of the binding on here. So I have leftover linen from lampshades that I make. I've made this trug. This is a Mandy Shaw design, and this pin cushion actually. And I had leftover linen from this. There's probably things in here made of linen actually, and I've made things in this really light linen. I've made a quilt. This is hand stitched. Well, actually, the patchwork pieces I've done on the machine, and all the patchwork. But all these have been I've hand stitched them. This is a Mandy Shaw design as well. So I've had white leftover linen. Now I think they would make lovely Christmas mice with the leftover piece of linen of that. And I've got linen, which is if you can see the comparison, look. Linen as dark as this as well, but it all makes great little toy making, especially little tiny mice. So I've been on a hunt in my craft room, and I've been using my bag that Katie bought for me, my lunar lapping bag. Here we go, Katie. So I've been on a hunt, and I've been putting all suitable mice fabrics in here, all linens, and some aren't linens, some are cottons and things. But yeah, so that is what I've been up to. I'm gonna have a quick glance around now. It's nearly Burns night. I don't know if I'm going to be going out for Burns night because I'm really not feeling well, as I say, but I really want Hamish to have his outfit for Burns night, my little Scottish friend. And I'm going to aim to make his shirt first. I've started it. I've cut out his tie pieces and I've pinned them together. I've got to sew that piece first. And he's designed by Cool Crafting. He looks lovely next to my cream jumper, doesn't he? And I've cut out his shirt. So I've just got to sew that together after I've made the tie. And then I think the biggest job is going to be the kilt. So I've got all the little bits and bobs, and it's a huge piece of fabric. But obviously it's going to have loads of pleats, isn't it? So it needs to be a huge piece of fabric. That's why I didn't actually make a kilt before Sarah had designed one for him, because I knew I'd need a very long piece of fabric, but wasn't sure how long. So I've let Sarah do the hard work for me. So thank you, Sarah, for designing the kilt, so I don't have to. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm really struggling to talk, I must admit. So if I don't bring a video next week, it might be that, like, obviously I've got a bit worse, and I might not have much to show you. I might not be up for filming. So if I'm not here next week, then you'll understand why. But fingers crossed, this is as worse as I'm going to feel, but you never know, do you? So, but anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I will leave a video at the end of some things that I've filmed, if I get time to do that. So thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Stitch Diaries. It's been really lovely having you. I really appreciate you coming and watching my video. It means so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.